John Mercer had seen danger before, but this was different. Deep in the heart of the dense jungle, he could feel the weight of the environment closing in on him. The air was thick and humid, the dense canopy above barely letting sunlight through. Somewhere ahead of him was his target, Mateo Ortega, a notorious drug lord who had slipped through the fingers of justice once again. But this time, John was determined to end it. The mission had begun like any other. Intelligence had led the authorities to Ortega's hideout on the outskirts of the city, but the raid had gone sideways. Ortega had escaped, fleeing into the untamed jungle, with a small army of mercenaries guarding his every move. John, a former Special Forces operative turned bounty hunter, was hired for one reason: to track Ortega down and bring him back alive, or dead. John moved cautiously through the thick foliage, his senses heightened. The jungle was alive with sounds, chirping insects, the distant calls of birds, and the occasional rustle of leaves as animals moved through the brush. Ortega's men were out there too, hunting him just as much as he was hunting them. They knew the terrain better than he did, and they were armed to the teeth. But John had something they didn't: experience and relentless determination. Hours into the chase, John stumbled upon the first signs of Ortega's path: footprints, cigarette butts, and discarded food wrappers. He was close. He crouched, studying the ground, his mind racing with possibilities. The tracks led deeper into the jungle, towards a river. Ortega was probably trying to use the river to cover his tracks and escape deeper into unknown territory. But John had anticipated this. He knew he couldn't let Ortega reach the riverbank. As he followed the trail, John's radio crackled to life. It was his contact at the task force. "Mercer, be advised. Satellite images show increased activity in your sector. Looks like Ortega's got reinforcements moving in from the south. You need to move fast." John gritted his teeth. Ortega was pulling every string he had. John quickened his pace, slipping silently through the jungle. The terrain was treacherous, the ground uneven, and the roots of ancient trees twisting underfoot, threatening to trip him up with every step. Suddenly, John froze. Ahead, he could hear voices, two of Ortega's mercenaries. He crouched low behind a cluster of thick vines, his eyes scanning the area. The mercenaries were armed, patrolling the jungle with automatic rifles slung over their shoulders. They spoke in low tones, unaware that death was stalking them from the shadows. John waited, his breath steady, his heart rate slowing. Then, like a coiled spring, he struck. Moving silently through the underbrush, he came up behind the first mercenary and with one swift motion brought him down with a chokehold. The second turned just in time to see John, but was too slow to react. A well-placed strike with the butt of John's rifle sent him crumpling to the ground. With the guards dispatched, John pressed on. The sounds of the river grew louder in the distance, and soon the trees thinned, revealing a small clearing by the riverbank. And there he was, Mateo Ortega, standing near a boat with 3 more mercenaries guarding him. They were preparing to flee. John's mind raced. He was outnumbered, but he had the element of surprise. He needed to act fast. Silently, he moved into position, lining up his sights on the nearest mercenary. One shot, clean and precise, dropped the man instantly. The jungle exploded into chaos. Ortega shouted orders, and the remaining mercenaries opened fire, their bullets tearing through the foliage. John moved like a ghost, evading their shots, using the jungle to his advantage. One by one, he took them down, his training kicking in with precision. In the end, only Ortega was left, panicking as he scrambled toward the boat. But John was faster. In a final burst of speed, he tackled Ortega to the ground, pinning the drug lord beneath him. "It's over, Ortega," John growled, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. Ortega sneered, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "You think taking me down will change anything? There will always be someone else to take my place." John tightened his grip. "Maybe, but it won't be you." With Ortega secured, John radioed for extraction. The jungle still hummed with life around them. But for now, the hunt was over.